it would give us the best access to the strongest possible group of senior insurance decision makers.
InsurTech Insights is a must-do conference, I think, for the network that is built here.
Hello, everyone. Hope you had an enjoyable lunch. If not, make sure to grab some after the session, which you can find right outside of the room. The panel session that follows is going to be discussion on how can tech drive successful digital transformation within insurance. Any questions at any point, simply raise your hand, and the moderator will choose you in order to make that question. Without further wait, please welcome our panelists. Thank you.
Okay, so nice to see you all, and thank you for coming to this highly anticipated panel on how to break the silos inside an organization in order to create a unified vision of a digital transformation for the company. Appreciate your time following, the lunch. Hopefully everyone is settled down. My name is Gilbert Ohana. I'm a managing partner of IntelV Ventures. It's a venture capital fund based in Tel Aviv, Israel. We invest in InsurTech mostly. It's an InsurTech focused fund, investing in Israel, Europe, and USA with companies like from Europe, Wifox, Lovis, Milo from Germany, Akinova, it's a local company here in UK, and others from the States like Hippo Insurance, Next Insurance, Boltec, etc. So we're quite active on these three continents. And we have, I should say, our managing partner, also the founder, speaking right after me about longevity, should you find it interesting in its aspect on insurance. I want to say some words to begin this panel, if that's okay. In today's rapid evolving insurance landscape, digital transformation has become essential for organizations to stay competitive and meet customer expectations. Today we have the privilege of exploring one of the most critical challenges facing insurance organizations, the silos that often hinder collaboration and cohesion within companies. In an era where interconnectedness and quality, agility are paramount, the need to break down these silos and foster a unified vision has become a critical factor for success. Over the next 40 minutes, with our esteemed panelists, we will explore and deep dive into the strategies, insight, and experiences of these challenges, and bring these panelists. The esteemed panel here holds an extremely long time wealth of real-world experiences and practical insights that will provide you with actionable strategies. From harnessing the capabilities of generative AI, we must refer to generative AI these days, but to cultivating a culture of collaboration and innovation, our discussion will explore several ways in which digital transformation can serve as a catalyst for organizational unity and growth. So without further ado, and I thank you for this attention of yours, let's start this journey of exploration. And I would like, please, the esteemed panel to take some time and introduce yourself, your experience and background and company. Please, go ahead, Tobias.
Happy to start. Hello. My name is Tobias Sondorfer. I'm a board member at VIG Re. We are, as a reinsurer, part of the Vienna Insurance Group. We do business in continental Europe and in Asia, out of 3 locations. Our headquarters is in Prague in the Czech Republic, and we serve continental Europe through our offices in Munich and in Paris. I'm responsible for strategy in the digital transformation. Before joining VIG Re, I was more than a decade at Munich Re, pretty much following similar topics, I would say. Happy to be here.
Hello everyone, I'm Ollie Holden. I'm the Chief Information Officer for RSA. RSA is a commercial specialty lines insurer, also in personal lines, and we're a couple of years into a fairly significant transformation. We're exiting our personal lines business. We just bought a commercial lines business, and alongside all that, we've got to re-platform all of our technology. So lots of transformation going on at the moment. My background is bit of time in consulting and a number of roles doing sort of transformation work at the intersect between business and technology over the last few years.
Hi, my name is Parul Call-Green. I am the CEO and a founder of Udemon Consulting. It's a new consulting boutique which addresses pain points around strategic transformation, cost transformation, and digital transformation. Prior to this, I was Chief Digital Officer of Liberty Mutual, and before that, ExCom member, Head of Strategy for AXA XL. Throughout my career, which has been in banking, investment management, and insurance, I've built, launched, and scaled digital revenue models. So this is a sweet spot for me. Thank you for coming here and listening to us.
Hi, everyone. It's Ben Potts. I'm the UK Managing Director of Novodea. We're a insurance distribution platform, front, middle, and back office. We've got customers in 22 countries, over 100 countries, over 100 customers, and breaking down silos, creating better value for customers with technology is what we're all about. And it's nice to see some of our customers in the room today.
Great. So I will leave time in between for questions. So I encourage you maybe to prepare a question, and in the right time I will ask you. And of course, I'm sure the panelists will be more than happy to share their views and experience. So maybe I'll start with you, Parul, and I want to deep dive right into the problem, okay? So when we speak about silos within organizations, how do you see these silos created inside an organization, and what kind of, let's say, obstacles they can create for the business, for organizations, etc.?
So that's a very good question. Let me break it down. We have functional silos, we have geographic silos, and then we have silos between headquarter and operating businesses. Now, what happens in functional silos, and I can give you an example, there will be underwriting and risk assessment, where the property underwriting team will not speak to casualty underwriting team, will not speak to FinPro underwriting team, and each will have their own risk assessment methodology, data, and analytics captured, which are being repeated across all of these. And then similarly in geography, UK will have its own digital stack, as will France, as will Germany. And finally, headquarters try to impose a centralized vision without adequately understanding that the data jurisdictions impose certain data governance rules, which means some of the thought around digital transformation, having thought in the headquarter alone, will not work everywhere. So what, in my experience, is very important is to have a very comprehensive, thought-through way of thinking. How are we going to deliver our organizational strategy and data strategy and digital strategy all as a babushka or a matrushka in itself? It's not sitting alone. It's one inside the other, and each has a strong relationship with others. So that, I believe, is something which is missing, and we need to do a lot better work in not working against each other, but with each other.
Okay, thank you. Ben, maybe you can elaborate on that, because you, I think, from Novidea, you can see a lot of organizations, right? Maybe you can add more.
So we're fortunate to have lots of great customers over 22 countries, all in insurance distribution, whether carriers or brokers, all with different complexities and problems and different scales and sizes. But what's typical of all of them is the same challenge of the front office, the middle office, and the back office. And these sit in silos. And this creates a lot of rekeying inefficiencies, but it also creates silos of data. So things are being rekeyed, and that causes challenges. But importantly, if you look at that from a customer's perspective, and all of this is about providing better value to your customers, being easier to do business with, having that siloed information means it's very hard to have a conversation with a customer in a joined-up way. And especially a lot of our customers being global businesses, they'll have global customers, but treat them in isolation in every single country. So they're not providing the value they should be. I think we'll come on to it later as well. So from a customer value point of view, there's a real challenge. And then within the organisations themselves, there's data and technology silos and spreadsheets and all of those things, but there's cultural silos as well. And people in different parts of the business work in a way that they've always worked. And part of breaking down silos is changing the culture to get a common view, which is typically we want a better value for our customer, we want to be easier to do business with, we want to be more efficient, and we want to have insight across our entire business. If you can culturally align people, you can start breaking down silos. And then technology is the enabler to make the change, but it's the people that are the heart of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to the cultures thing. We won't let it be left out. Maybe Oli and Tobias, if you want to add, because I'm also thinking about not only inefficiencies without organization, but also like missed opportunities. So you can actually lose business if you don't work cohesively between the functions of an organization. If you want to add from your experience, anything.
Well, a lot have been said. Probably to add on one bit to it, and that is, and I think you pointed in that direction, Ben. Technology can do a lot already today. The limiting factor very often is not technology. The limiting factor is exactly what you said. How do I get the people of an organization along, working and walking in the same direction? Enabled by technology, and technology can be an enabler, but I think to sort of say, to bring it down to the street and to make use of the power of technology, that's the miracle, and that's the heartbeat of it.
Yeah, maybe I can add as well. I mean, I think you've got to start with what's the business vision, actually, before you get into a technology or a transformation vision. And I think too often you see that the reasons there are silos is because over time, either priorities or incentives aren't aligned, and so consequently you have people focus on cost, people focus on top line, people focus on geographies, others trying to centralize. You have to start with a clear business vision from the top that you consistently and transparently reinforce in everything you do as a set of leaders over a multiple period of years. I think that's got to be the starting point.
So maybe that takes us to the next phase, actually, right? How you create a unified vision within a company that has so many maybe diverse functions, diverse employees, they see part of the vision, maybe part of the processes. Some see the internal operations, some see the customer, right? How you create a unified vision that is aligned between different functions in order to operate efficiently, seize on opportunities, and create like a similar language between a company and its employees. Maybe Oli.
Yeah, maybe I'll start. So I think the first thing is to be clear about where your differentiator is and what it is, what your purpose is as a company. And we talk in our parent company, RSA and Intact, about our mission is to outperform our competitors. I mean, that's our internal vision. Now, what that then drives is, let's be super clear about where we need to differentiate ourselves versus our competitors and differentiate ourselves in the eyes of our customers and brokers versus where are the areas that it doesn't really matter. We can be at market parity and that's fine. And the reason that's really important is it's focus, because the risk in many companies is trying to be all things to all people. Every idea is a good idea. The challenge is if you try to do 50 ideas, you'll do all of them not particularly well. If you can focus on 3 things and do those well, you'll probably be outperforming. And I think that, therefore, that focus, tight vision, and again, consistent application in every interaction is critical.
If I may add to this, and this reminds me from very beginning of my career when I was in Citigroup, the unifying vision, which we call big, hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG was 1 billion customers in the world. And that aspirational but customer focus drove various geographies to really come into this unified vision. It was not geographic, it was not functional, it was customer-centric. And that really helped unifying people around. So what is my contribution to 1 billion customers? We used to have Another subheading which used to sit under it, there were jokes around it as well, which was "City never sleeps." And the joke was from customers, and neither does it let its customers sleep. So it was a very, very powerful, pithy, customer-focused vision which drove actions of everybody, which was very, very powerful in my experience and those of my cohort of people who were in City at that time.
Yeah, well, I think the two words that pop to my mind on that question is authenticity and communication. So I think a vision or a transformation journey needs to be authentic, and it needs to be communicated in an authentic way. I mean, look at the word transformation. Let's start with that. We should be crystal clear as leaders of organizations to say a transformation means at the end of the transformation, the company you're in is looking very much different than the company you're in now. That's the nature of a transformation, right? And to be clear and transparent about what this journey is about, that's a starting point for me. Also to get this unified, to open up the mind for the idea of transformation, that's the starting point, if you ask me. And then on authenticity, so if it fits to City, that's fine, but every organization needs to look for something which is authentic for the organization for itself, so to say. So if I look at VIG Re, for example, our vision on the transformation was that we would want to become a digitally enabled reinsurance company. And we had a long discussion to say, do we want to be a digital reinsurer, or do we want to be a digitally enabled reinsurer? And what is the difference on that? Being in a B2B business, so the human touch in all the business which we're doing was an important element, and we didn't want to, even if we want to heavily go down a digital route, we do not want to lose this human touch in interactions with our clients. So this element of explanation and authenticity, I think, is a crucial point to overcome those silos and to gain a company-wide understanding of what you're heading to.
I think vision's really important. It goes to some of the earlier points. Our customers that are successful in breaking down silos and transformation have very clear objectives, because it's all about adoption. So it's adoption from your customers, it's adoption from your business, it's adoption from your delivery partners, and vision's great, and that sets what you apart as a brand to your competition. Having very clear objectives around what the projects, what the transformation is going to achieve needs to be very, very clear, because all stakeholders need to understand that for it to be successful.
I totally agree, if I may add from my experience, right? And I come from a military organization, but still there, I think you need to aspire that all employees, right, in all levels of the organization will have like an understanding. I'm not sure they need to completely be aligned, but clear understanding of the language, where the company is going, the vision in terms of concrete phrasing, right? Like we want to be a digitally insurer or otherwise, with wording that can be explained. And it's probably a role of every manager in every level of the organization to share that vision to its subordinates, etc., right? Because otherwise, the CEO can say, this is the direction, but none will follow. That's my experience, if I may add to that. I'm going back to technology, and maybe, Ben, you can share with us, as a technology provider eventually, right? A company that sees a lot of customers and provides them with technology. How do you see the use of technology with your experience, your customers seeing in the market? How can technology be used to create a unified digital transformation vision for a company?
Great, okay. I think it goes back to the earlier point again, and keep looping back, but it's an enabler. So the business needs to be ready for that change, and all of the different stakeholders aligned in what those objectives are. But what technology allows you to do is provide standardization, operational standardization, because what you'll have across different geographies, different departments, different classes of business is a different way of doing things. So if you look at your front office and you carry standardized processes and you automate and you drive workflow, that standardization goes across your business. And if you're underwriters or brokers or broker technicians, underwriter technicians, new business, whatever that role is, if they're working consistency across an organisation, technology allows that, puts the framework and governance in place, then what you're allowed then as a business, is, as managers and leaders, is to start benchmarking, reporting, analytics, and whether that's a 360-degree view of your customer, how are we working with BMW worldwide, or is that across our different lines of business in different territories, which is performing well, which isn't. That standardisation allows you to really benchmark your business and then make operational changes for the good. And that's what technology allows you to do. It puts the framework in to allow that change.
Oli, maybe you can add as being Chief Information Officer, right?
Yeah, I guess what we've all got to remember in an InsurTech conference is this is about insurance. We're working for insurance companies, and the job of insurance companies to, we all know, right, is to help our customers manage risk. And technology has been helping insurers and customers do that for decades. The things that have changed over the last few years have helped to accelerate things, but it's the same thing is, and we've made the point a few times, it isn't about the technology. You can use technology as a vehicle to force simplification, but I bet most people who are coming from corporates have got legacy technology, they've got shiny technology that they've somehow bent out of shape and it no longer quite fits what it was supposed to do, and everybody blames the technology or they blame the SI or whatever. Well, that's the reality, right? At the minute, we have great technology solutions, there's lots of them out there, but our ability to adopt them within a business, in the business context, and support them, maintain, nourish them over the years is the bit that really companies struggle with. And that certainly, I joined RSA 2 years ago. We've got about 4 previous transformational activities that have happened over the last 30 years. I can still see the technology in my estate from those last 4 big transformation programs. So they all got part of the way there, never quite finished. Nobody ever turned off the old stuff. Nobody ever migrated. So you end up with all that legacy. So whilst technology can force business simplification and can be the vehicle for a transformation, it takes a lot of effort, and it's not just about implementing shiny stuff, it's about tidying up the old stuff behind you.
Yeah. So let me throw out a question to all of you. So do you see any specific technologies, maybe even specifically Gen AI, with the, let's say, the opportunities or potential of using that technology to create or to reduce the silos between organizations, like data analytics and automation technology and AI and RPAs, right? Robotic process automation. Eventually you can implement those within a function, and you maybe strengthen the silos between different functions, or you create maybe cross-functional processes. Do you see such kind of opportunities with specific, let's say, Gen AI, underwriting, claims, etc.? Maybe Parole?
So I want to emphasize, and this bears emphasizing again and again, that digital transformation is not once and done. It's continuous. I was appalled to read Stripe's study, which says that organizations today have $5 trillion worth of tech debt because they have not sunsetted redundant technologies. They've created monolithic structures. So the benefit for digital has completely stagnated, or there are technologies available today which are much faster than what your legacy systems are delivering. So there is a complete chasm between what technologies together, the benefit that it should be delivering, and what it is currently delivering. So to my mind, when you think of digital transformation, one, it's not once and done, it's continuous. As the technology changes, your understanding of what is the level of digitization, what should be done by human and what should be done by technology needs to evolve. Secondly, you need to steer away from monolithic structures because they force really inflexibility into your system, which really puts you in a jail of sort. I can't do anything because changing this would make this topple over. And when you think through, you need to think through that, continuously think the entire macrocosm of smaller technologies to the end of what you are trying to deliver for the customer. It is not technology for technology's sake. It is what is technology doing for my customer, for the insured whose problems I'm trying to solve. I know it's not one single technology. It's a whole load
Probably,
of them.
yeah. Otherwise, it would be easy, right? Ben, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, sure. So I think the question was, how does AI help to break down silos? Yeah. And there is, so you look at it from a technology point of view and human behaviour, there is some human behaviour that is just there and it will cause silos and it's very hard culturally to change. You know, commercial and liability teams will just write commercial business and not think about the liability practice. And that's where at Novodeo we use AI to look at cross and upsell opportunities, looking at the data, looking at the profile of the customer, and then generating workflow to create opportunities across between teams. So it's breaking down those human behaviours that create silos with technology. And AI is a great way to do that. Just because a human's not thinking about it doesn't mean that the system can't be with the data set and then making those recommendations or even driving decisions by workflow.
So going back to the role of leadership, and maybe I'll ask Tobias, so how do you see leadership in your organization driving that change, right? Let's say making people work together, collaborate, share information, join, forces to create sometimes initiatives that are reflected in one side of the organization and not the other. What is the role of management in that? And I'm saying specifically management and not executive management, right? Because I think we should address, all levels of management, right? What kind of activities, how many, let's say, of their time they need to invest in that, as opposed to other, of course, tasks and responsibilities they have?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, Gilbert. My experience is, and if you ask me, this is of utmost importance and the single biggest lever whether or not a transformation journey is successful or not. Because it was said already, and I want to rehearse that, if the CEO or the board develops a vision about a transformation journey, that's nice, but doesn't really help much, right? It needs to be translated into the organization, and the organization somehow needs to understand what are we doing here. And the management team has a crucial role to play here to be this translator and to communicate into the organization of what the board, what the thinking is behind the ideas which have been drawn in the board office. So that's number one. Number two is, and I think also this was said already, the role of the management team in a transformation journey shall be, if you ask me, to relate the journey to the employee. So what can I contribute to that? What is my role? What can I do to pay into this vision or to pay into this journey? Because then it's only relatable. And it's not I think the optimal status is that it's not the vision of the board anymore, it's the vision of the company, because the company adopted the vision. Technology then helps to execute it, but it's really understood and adopted. And I think here the management team plays a crucial role. And the best example for me here is data indeed. Because if you reach a state where underwriters, claims people, accountants do feel responsible for the data they produce, within a system, and do not create data silos, but you somehow provide an opportunity of one data source, of one data lake, of whatever it is at the end, and to translate this responsibility. This is not our data, this is not data of the company, this is your data, and the quality of the data is fully on your responsibility, because if you are not adhering to the quality of the data, the systems won't work, AI won't work. So this translation job, so to say, that's the management team's job, and that's super important to have this close ties, if you ask me.
Can I add a couple of points? So I think the job of leaders, and maybe it's more senior leaders, but I think it's applicable for all leaders, is to create the environment for people to be successful. And in leading a transformation, the environment for a transformation to be successful and for people to effectively execute on that and fulfill their careers and develop themselves, I think there are a number of things that need to be in place, and sometimes I'll talk about the need for alignment across sponsorship, investment, governance, operating model, a team of people to do the work, partnership, clear outcomes. And they all sound pretty obvious, but the amount of times I've been in companies where not all of those things are aligned, you're not clear who the sponsor is, or there's a slight bit of ambiguity around investment or strategic objectives or whatever it is, getting those things aligned is critical. It's a critical success factor. Two other points. I completely agree. I think data is a great democratizer. Having common data that everybody is using is a great way of forcing collaboration, because there is only one version of the truth. I think the other piece, I'd say just more on the cultural side, the softer side, for people to believe the vision, typically they need to feel that they're contributing to it and they're being listened to. And it tends to start to become the company culture at the point that they can believe, and they genuinely believe, that there's a better life and a better world, a better company that they can contribute to. And when you start seeing that momentum, I think it's self-fulfilling.
Can I just add one more point? So I liked a lot what you said, Oli. One thing I would want to add, because how the company just take it up, I think wording and how to speak about things is extremely critical here. Because we see that out here, and there is a specific language developed around digitization and digital transformation. And if you imagine that there is people in your organization not really close at the InsurTech Insights or somewhere else, how do you get the things translated without confusing them with words they never heard before? So this labeling, to tear down the wall even in words, I think is a very important aspect on that too.
Yeah, I sometimes use the mum test. If I can explain it to my mum, it's probably at the right level. If I can't...
Okay. So before going to the audience, maybe Parol, Ben, you want to add your feedback on the role of management?
Yeah, so I've been on executive committees now, and I can tell you that digital transformation goes into CIO or CEO world, and they are responsible for driving it, and they are cost centers. They are not the ones who are driving the revenues and profitability. So there is almost the CEO of the organization in both cases has to be equal participant, everyone around the table, and the cross-functional collaboration around the transformation which will deliver customer value needs to be communicated in unison instead of one person making a statement in very confused language and people not really understanding the import and the importance. That is, to my mind, very, very important. Cross-functional collaboration and vision being communicated. Also, listen to the problems people are having. I'll not name my previous place of work. We had integration. Everything fell apart, and nobody wanted to listen that the work that was being done in 1 hour was taking 8 hours now. Everybody said that this will get over. No, communicate why this is happening. Things are not going right. You need to communicate around that. So that's the role of the leadership as well. Not just the vision, but listen to the gripes and the problem and solve the most egregious of problems and communicate that you have done so.
Okay. Yeah, no, as leadership, I think it's been summarized well. I mean, clear objectives, ownership, accountability, adoption, single truth, they're all really important. And as a leadership team, our successful customers achieve that. But that's the big, breaking the first problem. It's then you need to maintain that. And that's where we talk about technology in silos and technology strong, is how does a leadership team you've got your organization culturally aligned, you've adopted change, you've got one view of the business in terms of data. It's how do I measure and track that and continue that over the years to make sure that continues. And I think that's where technology provides a really key role to help leaders to make sure the governance, tracking and monitoring is in place.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't touch a lot on the measuring of the process, right? And reflecting that, but that's obviously a good point. So if there are any questions from the audience, please raise your hand. Someone will reach out with a mic. If you want to ask the panelists on their experience on driving change, technology, leadership.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for discussion. I wanted to ask a question actually about maybe a little bit post-change thing. Also, Paul, you mentioned that change never finishes. We are constantly changing, but still. So with the changes, every change is stressful for people. And I've seen examples when there was a transformation done, but people still stuck to old ways of doing things because they, I don't know, love their old Excels, their old way of communicating, people go and asking someone around to do stuff. So any tips and tricks, any experience of how you handled post-change stage? Yeah, to everyone, obviously.
So one very important thing is to set certain outcomes that a particular change is going to deliver and communicate clearly how you're progressing towards those outcomes. And when you have delivered them, say that there is a new path of change that you will take from here on, because as you said, change and transformation does not stop, but outcomes from a previous change should be communicated. An adequate explanation of why the next round of transformation needs to take place should always be made so that people feel informed and as settled as they can be, because the world keeps changing. So communication, to my mind, is a very, very powerful weapon for that.
Just 2 sentences. So I understand people like routines. I do too. So you cannot, and routines have good things, so you're super efficient. So I think, and you cannot live constantly in changing times. That kills you at some point. So I think it's important to make clear that there will be routines, routines will come back, but they look different. But they will come back. And to have, as you described it, to have a clarity of milestone is reached, and then you have time to get back into another routine. I think that's an important thing also to stay mindful about it.
I think the thing I'd just like to add is the old start with why, right? So why is it a good thing to change? Why is it good for you? Why is it good for the company? Why is it good for the customer? Is a really good place to start. I think the second thing is we have to be patient. To your point, people have habits and they don't necessarily like change. They feel fearful of it, and often I give examples just from this week of where we try to put in modern technology and the organization just rejects it because they just want to work the old way, the old waterfall way, and it takes us, months to put in some Gen AI stuff, right? You can't shout at people for that. It's just the way they are. What we have to do is be kind and help people on the journey of changing, and it just does take time, I think.
I see you do a transformation or a project, big or small, and you get to the end of it, you're absolutely right. It's easier then just to drift or move to the next thing. I think organisations with strong leadership agree with the business, and it's that cultural alignment. Why are we doing something? It might be great customer value, drive efficiencies. It might be breaking down silos down. Whatever the pillars are, they continually live by them. So it's very simple to understand why you're asked to do the next thing or the next thing. People don't want continual change. Continual change is really distracting. But if as an organisation you're asked to do something and the main core values of why you're doing it hasn't changed, then people will continue to be brought in. And the other thing is to celebrate success, You looked at organisations like these guys here, you see big projects go on. It's like, right, next project, guys, next project. And it's really important to celebrate the success, realise all the people who are involved, and the technologies, and the suppliers, and that positivity mixed with a common sort of standardisation in belief of the reasons why you're doing things. I think that builds that momentum. And change just happens then, and people are supportive because they understand why, and they appreciate it.
You want to add something? Or?
No,
okay.
It was a brilliant question,
Yeah.
and Yeah, and thank you for asking that question. The only thing that I'd say is these guys are really very, very experienced and clever, but bear in mind, as you look like Gen Z, that, and I'm way old, you will always see changes, and you've got to manage your own experience by yourself and ask people if they're not communicating properly. Ask your leaders, you need to tell me what's happening. So I would encourage you to do that.
Absolutely. So I think we came to an end, and it was too good, so the time flew by. I want to add that at the beginning, I thought about whether the room will be full with people or not because of the subject. It's not technology, it's not like future trends of insurance, but I think that the participation from the audience here in the room being full, very reflecting that you understand the challenge, right? And that the issue of truth transformation begins with people. It actually begins, continues, and ends with people. The technology changes from time to time. I think we can understand and agree that technology will support us, and digital, is the way probably most businesses need to go in the future, and understanding that the true change will only come through people, right? Embracing technology, changing their processes, etc., is the key to success. And I think that communication, basically, if I'm taking one word, true, candid, transparent communication between all levels is the key to reflect that over and over again. So with that, I want to thank the panelists here, Tobias, Oli, Parol, and Ben. Thank you for participating and reflecting your experience with us, and thank you for taking the time. Thank you very much.